Social work in ancient India, Rigveda. Rigveda chapter 1 says that, may the one who give shine most, and Upanishad like Brihadaniga, Chandrodaya, Tatariya prescribe that every householder must practice charity. In Mahabharata, we find that when Bhishma talks to Yudhishthira, he described the essence of eternal religion is non-violence, truth, the conquest of anger, and charity. In ancient India, the social welfare activities were performed by Vyagnas, which were the most popular mass rituals known in Vedic days. In great grand shed erected for the purpose on the bank of a flowing river, people assembled in a utter spirit of dedication. Each tried to contribute something, uh, something towards the yajna. Their intention was the common welfare of all. There is no personal desire to be fulfilled. Yajnashalas were classrooms where both men and women were taught the spirit of working together without ego and egocentric desires. The spirit underlying the most popular Vedic rituals is brought to bear in all actions, not only in Yajnachalas but also same in home, marketplace, factory, field, etc. The Gita says that cherish the devas with the yajna spirit, and those devas shall in return cherish you. Thus, cherishing each other, you will gain the highest good. When a man in a community strives cooperatively without ego and egocentric desires, the community, the cosmic forces that constitute the environment, will cherish them in turn. And Bhagavad Gita says that Bhagavad Gita advises that when any profit acquired as a result of totally dedicated effort of many people, if that effort, if that money is misappropriated by a man, then he is known as a thief. No people, single member have the uh, right for a large share. The community is sure to succeed in progress and welfare when it is learned to live and strive as one entity. Next is Ashwalayana Graha Sutra. It says that one must perform the Pancha Yagnas, giving service to God, ancestor, animal, on one's own self and one's fellow man. And in Chandrodaya Upanishad, it says that the life is a succession of yagnas and services for others. Charity is not merely a social duty, but it's like a prayer. And in Manasutra, it says that it is the duty of the it is the duty to feed the guest first, and then his servants, and at last the he and his wife might eat at last. And in this sculpture, Tadri Upanishad declared that it is better not to give at all rather than to help without showing due respect with the recipient of the charity. Shastri has depicted the communitarian republics of early Vedic period in a communitarian society which functioned like an extended family. Everybody's needs were catered to everybody. When there was a life of complete mutuality and reciprocal assistance, whether the needs were basic or special. The knowledge and the skill of people differed only in quantity, and everybody did for others in need and what others did for them in similar circumstance. And the development of agrarian society. With the development of agrarian society, the private group ownership of land concept of charity come into existence. Earlier, when there was a common ownership of property by the tribe, dana was given as a protection as the right against starvation for the sick, aged, the allied, the weak, who had high first claim on social property. But when public property and a class rule were comes, the dana was converted from an instrument of social interest to a privilege of ruling class. Dana became a voluntary virtue and charity of kings and kshatriyas. By later Vedic period, the institutional and acquired the characters of charity with religious ideology. Dana was given to acquire punya. It was no longer given as a celebration of an event or a heroic personality or in connection with a ceremony. With the evolution of Buddhism, during Magadha period changed the character of Indian society. It was changed from a tribal agriculture settlement to a class-based agrarian economy. Buddhism accepted the karma theory, which served the purpose of explaining the origin of social inequality. Buddhism laid great emphasis on Punya and Dana, charity was given not only as a means of elevating the sufferings of materially poor, but also giving gifts, that is Dana, especially to the Sangha. Sangha were the center of shelters and learning were responsible for the spread of literacy. Guild. Guild were the important corporate organizations which performed variety of economic and welfare functions in ancient India. Guilds, uh, guilds were playing an important role during the Buddhist period. It helped the depressed, it helped the distressed, blind, and the helpless women. With the development of agriculture society, a new type of polity is formed in the early coastal and Magadha states. Bimbasara, he was a king of Magadha about 300 BC. He was the earliest Indian king to lay foundation for an efficient administrative system. He paid special attention to the development of road and agriculture. Severe punishment was inflicted on cruel and corrupt officers. His son Ashoka also succeeded. His son Ashoka succeeded in him in to the 283 BC. Social and political activities of the king during the Maurya period has been recorded by Kaudilya. He is a contemporary of Ashoka, and Kaudilya in his book Arthashastra, he mentioned the duties of king towards his subjects. A wide range of welfare activities were undertaken during the region of Ashoka. The superintendents of women were appointed to look after the welfare of women, including prostitutes. High commissioners of charity, that is, Dhamma Maharathas, were appointed for the recording of charity donated by royal family and for the regulation of charity. The commissioners of equity were to look after the welfare of the prisoners also. The welfare programs were under overall charge of Dharma Maharathas. Ashoka developed a comprehensive system of social welfare which included women welfare, rehabilitation of prisoners, rural development, free medical care, regulation and prostitution, and provision of public utilities like road, rest house for travelers, wells, etc. The creation of separate cadre of state officials to implement these programs is an accomplishment that compares very favorably with the social welfare system of some of the modern social democratics of Europe. Next is Kanishka. Kanishka, he came into throne in 78 AD. Like Ashoka, he is a great king and he also contributed for the welfare of society. He gave liberal donations and grants for the constructions of Buddhist viharas, monasteries, stupas, etc. They were the center of learning and helped the needy people. During the period of Gupta, which was one of the brightest history of India, the Gupta dynasty witnessed a succession of brilliant rulers like Chandragupta, Samudragupta, who established a well-governed empire, and the people were happy and prosperous under him. Welfare of the people was the main task of the king, who devoted his life for the same. Harshavardhan. Harshavardhan, who occupied throne in 606 AD, was an enlightened and benevolent ruler. The welfare of his subjects always dominated his thoughts and actions. He established hospitals, dispensaries, orphanages, and homes for the destitute. He distributed presents among men of religion, the poor, and the needy. In one of the 5 assemblies at Prayag, Allahabad, he is believed to have given everything he had in charity and had borrowed clothes from his sister. And during the Sultanate period, the Sultanate was the Islamic state. The duties of the king included maintenance of peace, protection from external attacks, levying and realization of taxes, and providing justice to the subjects. Besides this, the rulers did little for the general welfare of the masses. Malik Ali, Malik Ali, a noble of Balban, was more generous in giving alms. He always gave gold and silver coin to the beggar. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was charitable and kind. Muhammad Gawan spent all his wealth on the poor and he ate coarse food of peasant and slept in ground with a straw mat for the bed. Sufi Sheikh. He used to distribute gifts to the needy Muslim masses that come to their kanavas. Usually, one of the disciplines of Sheikh was appointed as a manager to look after the needy. And during the Mughal period, Humayun was the first Muslim king who have made a bold attempt to prohibit the Sadi system. But Akbar was the greatest ruler who not only brought many reforms in Indian society but also abolished slavery in 1583. He introduced equality among the people irrespective of their class and religion. His religious policy was a policy of religious equality, and he granted full freedom to his subjects in matters of religious belief and practice. He was liberal in granting money. He was liberal in granting money. He was His religious policy was he was liberal in granting money and land for the benefit of Hindus, Jains, and Parsis. Akbar has a comprehensive system for the poor relief. Relief of poor was done in two types. The first one is granting relief in cash. Granting relief in cash, those who have come into his daily account, and the second type is a systematic and organized assistance which was provided regularly. Vasifas. Vasifas were also given to the students. He constructed three houses for the poor in order to control beggary.